Fantastic. Okay, friend. Hello.
Snuggle in together.
Yeah. And so we'll just talk with each other and it's recording as we use whatever part. So we talked about during breakfast why we did it. Why? Because you were already a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
So, and already did another training. So comparatively.
Yeah. So I did a yoga teacher training last July. So I'm actually graduating almost the same time, but a year later. So I've now been a yoga teacher for a year.
Wow.
As of this upcoming month, which is cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, my first YTT was in Thailand, and I did it over the course of 3 weeks instead of months of time. And I thought that that's what I wanted initially. I thought that was kind of the right thing to do, because I was like, oh, I really want to like get immersed in it and be full on in the experience and be in a place that's not my normal every day. I was also very burnt out at the time of my career. So I needed a pivot, and I got home afterwards and I came in to actually audition to work here for Dora, because we had just moved to Issaquah. And so my husband and I came in, I taught a class for Dora, just Dora.
Okay.
And I remember I was like, this is the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done in my life. And I've had many interviews, and this is way more nerve-wracking. I don't know why. And, but then I also started practicing here. And what I noticed was something was different about the studio. And my YTT in Thailand was very focused on like, you know, every little tiny cue to get you looking really cool. And it was a lot of like, and this isn't a negative at all. It's just, it was a lot of like very young, like early 20s, and I'm not in my early 20s. And this was like, you know, they wanted to travel nomadically and teach yoga. And I was like, cool. That's not my life. So in transitioning to here, I actually talked to Dora after I taught the class for her, and she was like, yeah, I'm doing another yoga teacher training starting in October. And this was in September. And I said, I think I need to do it. One, I don't feel like it was enough anatomy. I didn't feel like I was going to be keeping my students safe teaching. I felt like the focus was on how you looked and planning these like really intricate yoga sequences, and less about the mindfulness aspect and who you are as a teacher and who you are as a person. And so I wanted more of the spiritual side of yoga, because that's why I got into it.
Yeah.
So if there's anything I got out of it, I would say that is what I got out of it, is like the spiritual side, and just this, I feel like it opened a window into what presence actually is in life. And that's incredibly helpful.
I agree. I mean, I've been doing yoga for probably on and off for over 20 years, you know, various levels. I know. Right?
I did not know that.
I'm old.
You are not.
I got
We're
my
like
first
almost the same
Baron
age, we're not old,
Baptiste. It was actually a VHS tape when I was in college, but various levels of discipline, right? Like sometimes I would go months and months and months without doing it. But Dora, I would say, is the first one that really opened my eyes to the spiritual component. Well, not just the spiritual component, but understanding it's an inward journey, and it's not about striking a pose, right? It's not about mastery of a pose per se. And certainly you want to learn how to do things correctly and properly, but it's about the inner journey as you go into the poses. And I thought that was beautiful. I love that about this training. And the sense of community as well. I've been in a lot of yoga studios, and you know, I feel like I've met people that I really connect with. That means a lot.
Yeah, I feel that way here.
Yeah.
Like people just genuinely want to be doing yoga and like get to know each other, not like who has the prettiest
yoga pants.
Right?
Or dancer pose.
Yeah. Or if we can do like, you know, a headstand or whatever. And so that means a lot, I think, because I came from doing yoga in a very cool place. Yeah.
Oh, like
and
hip.
Like, you know, just everyone's got fancy yoga pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like whole outfit.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's great, but anyways, I'm glad I found, I interviewed a lot of places. Like, I think I told you, I don't know, like to do YTT. And some were like super fast and hard, like you were saying, it's immersive. And as like a working person with a normal schedule, that was either going to be super hard where I won't absorb anything, or I will just be super tired and not be able to give to my job. So to me, it was great to find Dora, who appreciates the fact that we all have lives outside of yoga, and that, you know, it is long, but we built that community that, like, I love you guys. But also,
The feeling is mutual.
but yeah, it's like it fits into my schedule, and I get to bring it to like my friends. I get to bring it to work, and everyone's like, "Oh, how's like YTT?" And it was cool. So
It's also like a sprinkle versus a downpour, right? Like
Yes,
that you really get the opportunity for it to absorb and then incorporate it into your life, as opposed to just being one big monsoon.
right.
I feel like we got to digest every month and like keep reading, keep practicing, but it was,
That's a good point.
yeah,
It was. You go home and just kind of like
process,
beforehand.
take it in.
And then you apply it
Yeah.
instead of like next weekend. Anyway, so why'd you got into it?
Oh gosh, I think definitely during COVID, I started doing way more yoga. It was like one of the only things that probably grounded me, which I think a lot of people can probably agree with, right? Tumultuous times. And it was something I always wanted to do, teacher training. And I just come off a very fun 2022, right? Year. Yeah. That's what year it was.
You got married.
Like was literally emailing Dora on my honeymoon, like, I want to do teacher training. And I really felt like I'd come off this high and like back to work and back to reality, and was like, ooh, I need to do something to expand and learn and just grow. And again, teacher training was always something I wanted to do. So I took the leap, and it's been quite the 9 months?
10 months.
10 months.
10-month journey. Absolutely. And I can 1000% say I've just grown, learned so much. It's funny too, like just anatomy, when you were saying your teacher training, I feel like I was doing yoga wrong. Like I finally learned, like, okay, tucking the tailbone. Oh my gosh, now I know what this means. What this feels like. That was a huge light bulb, like that first weekend that we dove into anatomy. I mean, there were so many light bulb moments, but even just anatomy and diving into the history of yoga and then teaching and cueing and
Pulling all those pieces together was fascinating. Right?
It really came together maybe the last 2 months for me. Like all the spiritual side, the anatomy side,
The history.
and what that all means, like in a down dog or in a eagle or whatever. Like it's all together.
Great.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I think one of the things that I loved about this training that I got almost 0% of in my other training was the history of yoga. Because the history was explained like, oh, we have the sutras and Patanjali, and that's cool. Here's the sutras. Let's talk a little bit about them, but not really. And then like you read it on your own time. And then we talked about like the 8 limbs of yoga, and then it jumped to asana. And that was it. And it also was not explained in the way of like how the asana practice came about, and the fact that that didn't come about when I thought it did, which was like hundreds of years ago, right?
Yeah, like yoga is not asanas.
Right.
That was like, what?
Yeah,
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Even in my other YTT, that's not the way that it was presented, right? And I love that yoga actually means so many other things besides what we thought it did, like the physical practice.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
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 We're a good bunch, guys.
Yeah.
I think so.
And we got smarter.
Love you,
Yes,
Dora.
we did.
We do love you,
We
Dora.
love you, Dora.
That
All
needs
right,
to be the exit.
No,
Don't do that.
don't do
Cancel.
cancel.
Don't
No,
enter.
no.
Sorry.
Don't exit the meeting. There you go.
Yes.